So welcome along to A Story to Tell with me, Richard Bovresen. This is mainly taken from my Radio Bath show every Thursday morning from 10 until 12. If you do like it, don't forget to subscribe, share it to others, and let everyone know all about Radio Bath. Hope you enjoy it.
Good morning, everybody. It's Richard Bovresen here until midday today. There's Disco 2000 and Pulp. My guest today sat opposite me. She's looking all good. So it's Christine Giles. She's from Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford and Avon. We're going to be talking all about how the world's changed over the last 50 years, health, and why she runs her superstore as well in Bradford on Avon. I'll get my teeth in today, I really will. So if you have any questions for Christine, then you can text Bath followed by a message to 80011, or you can email studio@radiobath.com. She's coming up right after this. Love a bit of Bob Marley. There's Could You Be Loved by Bob Marley and the Wailers. It's Richard Bovresen here until midday today. Charlotte's up next as usual. Thank you to Gerard, as always, for such an entertaining show. Those 5 minutes we had before the 10 o'clock gap always makes me chuckle every time. If you don't listen to that, do listen. Literally, it's just me and Gerald talking absolute chunder, as I like to talk about it. Anyway, my guest today is Christine Giles. She's from Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford and Avon. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning.
And how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, you are smiling away.
I am.
Which is lovely. Now, you greeted me I've been greeted many times in many different ways, and you greeted me in a different way today. What did you say when you first saw me?
I've been to your dance classes.
You have. So I have asked nothing else apart from that. Where did you go, first of all?
So St Margaret's Hall, before it got flooded.
It's due to reopen, hopefully end of April is the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah. One in Bath. And the Bradford on Avon one a couple of times.
Lovely. So obviously you didn't go for that many times. We've already established this fact. So my question is, without it being why didn't you stay?
Okay, so I think it takes quite a while to get used to dancing with complete strangers.
Yep.
And as nice as it is, I just found it a bit tricky.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be difficult to start with. There was some people on Tuesday when I was teaching in Swindon, and we had 3 couples who actually all stayed together completely by themselves as a couple, and that's never a problem, because dancing with other people, as you say, can be quite overwhelming.
And some are really good. Some are like pros, and you're a beginner, and everybody has to choose a partner, and you think, and it's like not being picked for football at school.
So you're sat there in the corner going, somebody pick me.
Yeah, and then you think, all right, I'll be brave and I'll go and pick someone. And then you think, no, I won't, because they're really good.
You have to come back. When we reopen in Bradford and Avon, come along, I'll dance with you.
Okay.
It'll be all right.
You danced with me before.
I'm sure I did.
I know,
remember,
how rude.
of course.
You don't remember me. Well, you danced with many, many people. You're a very good dancer, by the way.
Thank you. It is my job. And I've taught, I think, something like 150,000 people to dance over the years.
Oh, wow.
So I'd like to think I have some idea of what I'm doing. I even get to train the new teachers to be teachers. So hopefully, again, my expertise is somewhere in there. Of course, we can all improve, and I try and improve on a daily basis. But yeah, I do love it.
I feel I may have to come back.
You do have to come back. I'm just going to make that statement. Not you may have to come back, but you do have to come back. That's the plan. It's difficult, though, when people come along for the first time. It's not only trying to learn how to dance, but it's also the social environment of it as well. That can be quite difficult. You're in a room of 70 to 100 people sometimes. And it's like, again, lots of different people, different abilities. But everybody has to start. And this is what I said to the couples on Tuesday, is that give it 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, then everything just becomes easier. But if you drop out after 2 or 3, kind of go, I wonder if I could have done it. And I reckon you'll be all right. You'll be okay. We may even do a little bit of dancing today.
Okay.
You never know. I'll get you back into dancing somehow. It's my plan. Now, I'm going to do a very quick Desert Island Disc intro for you. Okay, you ready for this? I need to know how accurate this is as well.
Okay.
Right, so, are you ready? Today on A Story to Tell, I'm joined by someone who's proving that doing your weekly shop can also be an act of kindness to the planet, to local producers and to our future. From refill stations to plastic-free living, Christine's sustainable supermarket in Bradford and Avon has become much more than just a place to buy groceries. It's a community hub with sustainability at its heart. So let's meet the woman behind the mission, Christine. How is that for you?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Is it
Thank
weird?
you. Is it weird
To hear something like that?
No, I don't think so, because it's 20 years now. 20 years in October, just gone, is how long I've been doing it.
So whereabouts in BOA is it then?
So it's Silver Street, which is just over the bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what made you start it then?
So I was completely the opposite before, and
Right.
then so I was adopted at birth, and the yearning for blood relatives. When I had my own children, I went from being a designer clothes person and a brand new convertible BMW cars to, oh my gosh, I've got this tiny baby, and I've got to put nappies on it and feed it. And so something made me just look into it. And I think those were the two things that got me to start with. Was nappies contain hormone disruptors, and baby milk it's stripped cow's milk with loads of stuff added to it. And I thought, why would I give that to a newborn baby? And why would I put these, And so basically it was a massive can of worms from there. So then I just became obsessed. And I literally went from one extreme to the other overnight. And every day when I learned something else, that was something else I wasn't going to do or buy. And consumerism just became huge, and it just became my life. And I said, I'm never shopping in the mainstream supermarkets again. And all my friends said, of course you will. And I had £200 on a Nectar card, and I thought, I'm not wasting that. So Sainsbury's had a Charlie and Lola book all about fair trade and sustainability, so I went in and bought the lot. And used my Nectar card, and that was.
So you spent £200 on Charlie and Lola books.
Yes,
is that where this is going?
I did, yes.
Right.
And then gave them away in my first shop in Melksham. So, and that was 20 years ago. But yeah, so the shop follows 5 ethical values, and those 5 ethical values, everything that we consume is linked to those 5. So those 5 cover everything.
Okay.
And so obviously I discovered the sustainability issue, and then the nasty additives in the milk and the nappies, and then so the nasty additives then is obviously food, and that leads to factory farming, which is cruelty, and then factory farming then leads to animal testing, which again is cruelty, and then exploitation and cruelty leads to slave labour, which is fair trade. So those are the 5 ethical values that everything we consume is covered by. And some of the products we sell just cover one of those, and some cover 4 or 5.
So every single item in your shop is part of that ethos?
Yeah, and nearly everything, I'd say 90%, is completely free from any factory farming. So if it contains milk or butter, then it's free from that, because if you check out the supplier and they sell 20 products, that their ethics will be in those 20 products. You're not going to get a supplier who is going to have the ethics for 19 of them and then chuck one in that's like really unethical. That just doesn't happen. They're either ethical or they're not. But then you get the mainstream suppliers who are really unethical, who will pretend they're doing something.
Like who?
Oh my gosh,
throwing people under the bus.
All of them. So the thing is, for the consumer, it's really difficult unless you really look into it and So if they have the choice of buying a mainstream brand that's not fair trade or one that is, buy the fair trade one, because at least it's something. But because they're so huge, it's really difficult for them to actually do what they're saying they're doing. And there's a really good magazine called The Ethical Consumer, and you can go to their website and they pull apart every single company. And
really?
Yeah, and they score everybody out of, it used to be 20, but it's now 100. And certain companies, like, can I mention?
You can mention,
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
as long as they're not, as long as, my only ask, and I'm just being really careful here, I suppose, is they're not a partner of Radio Bath. That's my only. So, mate, do you know what? Before you throw people under the bus, we'll have a chat off air. I think it's probably the safest way to do that before I get myself in trouble with the boss.
Okay.
So we'll come back to that part. That's a hell of an undertaking from a supermarket to make sure that everything is good for the planet, etc., etc. That's a lot of research. Where do you find the time?
Well, because most of the stock that we sell 2,500 products, and most of those we've been selling for the last 20 years.
Okay.
And, nearly all the companies that we sell now, we've sold from the start. Some are new, obviously, but if we get new ones, I need to check them out. But just by asking them and messaging them and looking into their... you know what the internet's like. You can find out everything now, and
you can. I know, it's quite scary.
Yeah, and so I can tell straight away if somebody's lying, basically.
Right.
So we did sell certain products, pucker teas. I will say those because everybody knows this. They started off and convinced consumers, that they were really ethical and they were going to do loads of good, which they did, and then they were taken over by one of the big companies, so we discontinued them overnight. We sold 40 of their teas, and
wow.
They all went in the bargain basket overnight, and we went for somebody that was more ethical, because with the Ethical Consumer, they're wonderful, and they will tell you that they will have gone from, at the time, 16 out of 20 to 6 out of 20.
Just like that.
Yeah, just
well,
like
we're
that.
going to find out lots more. Now, you've chosen lots of the music today, which is lovely. The first track, Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World. What a great track, first of all. Some of your other tracks, I'm going to state it now, are interesting. That's the word I'm going to use. Prepare yourself for that
bit. My beautiful daughter, Ellie.
It's all good. So why this track, then?
So this is one that I've loved all my life, from my mum playing that music when I was a child. And it's just always stuck with me that, no matter what happens out there, it is still a wonderful world. And, we can see beauty everywhere. And he's such an awesome dude, is Louis.
He is an awesome dude. It is an incredible song. We'll be back with Christine very shortly. Text blast followed by a message to 80011.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white.
Richard Boson here until midday today. My guest today is Christine Giles. She runs the Christine Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford on Avon. Now, you weren't aware of this when we first spoke this morning, Christine, but a good friend of mine, Katie Fry, recommended you. She lives in Bradford on Avon, and she just basically thought you were a really inspirational person.
Oh, that's
Didn't know if you knew what people thought about you.
Yeah, thank you, Katie.
Yeah, so that's why you're here today, which is lovely. Now, when you turned up today, you also were very proudly, and you have been doing it proudly, sporting off a scar that you have. And you were like, look at this, everyone. Look what I've got. Now, you recently had a health scare, didn't you?
I did.
So tell us all about that, if that's okay.
Oh, dear. So I was plodding along as normal, and in September, I got myself a new job, and I nearly fainted, and I've never fainted in my life. And my friend had been saying to me, you've got to go to the doctors. I said, I'll be fine, it'll pass. And it'd been going on for a few weeks. And I'm never ill. And so I eventually went, and then, to cut a very long story short, they sent me to the hospital for a check, and I took my children with me because I thought we'd just go straight on to Bath shopping afterwards. And I was basically blue lighted to Bristol. I had I shouldn't laugh. I had a 7.2 centimetre aneurysm. I had a broken valve, which was replaced by a pig valve, and I had an aortic dissection. Now, they say the aortic dissection alone kills 50% of people in the first day, because it's 30 people in a million get this condition, and it's always mistaken for a heart attack. And so this is why so many people die. And the Aortic Dissection Awareness Charity are trying to raise awareness, because lots of healthcare professionals don't know that, this is what they're looking for. So they're, beating the drum to try and raise awareness. So, which I did a video for social media the other day, which was about that, because I think, people do need to look for this. Because
So how did people know that, or how did medical experts spot it in you then?
So I had a CT scan, which is the ultimate way of discovering it, and that's when they found all these issues.
A few problems, and it was just from fainting that made you kind of...
No, not even fainting, nearly fainting, and just feeling this weird gushing and feeling slightly faint a few times. But they did say it was surprising. They just couldn't believe, because I didn't have any issues. Like, my blood pressure's fine, my cholesterol's fine. I was running on the treadmill 3 times that week.
Right.
It was just really bizarre, and they were just all really shocked. Everybody was really shocked that all of a sudden I went, from one extreme to the other. So then I had the operation 3 days later, and literally it was 50-50.
Right.
And here I am now. And it's just massively changed my whole outlook on life, because they pretty much said it's either usually high blood pressure, which I obviously didn't have, but they said in my case it was stress. Because I'd been bringing up 3 kids on my own for 15 years and establishing a business and trying to bring them up, take them to school, go to work, go back, pick them up from school, take them to all their clubs and classes. It was all my own doing, because, every night we were doing diving or swimming or dancing or gymnastics. But I was just on this mission. The shop's got to succeed. The kids have got to be happy. And then, but then after the operation, I'm like, no, I am not doing any of that ever again. So now I haven't been stressed since.
Okay. It's really interesting, because for me, I come from a very modest background. Let's go that far. I grew up in one of the poorest council estates in the country. I know I have a well-spoken voice now. I was in Northern Ireland a couple of weeks ago, and I sounded like the poshest person in the world. I really did. And they were talking in an Northern Irish accent. And then I'd come across and go, "Oh, that's lovely, darling." So I know I come across very, very well-spoken now. But my driver is still, I don't want to go back there. So I'm still kind of working till 11:30, 12 o'clock every night, up at 6:30 this morning, and I'm working all the time to make sure that it possibly can't go back. Similar to yourself, I'm trying to spend time. I've got 4 children, spend time with my wife, and you try and match all of that whilst running a business. I have a reasonably large-sized business as well. And at some point, I probably will have a similar health scare, I suppose, to yourself.
Well, that's exactly the problem. We're all trying to chase for the dream, and which isn't even... what's going to make us happy, because we've got to live in the moment. And I know, I understand where you're coming from with, not wanting to go back to that, but you just got to drop that fear. You've got to just take stock where you are now, what makes you happy, what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So I can't actually work in the shop anymore.
I was going to ask that, because you're saying you had a new job, so does that mean you can't work in the shop?
No, well, it was just too stressful. Really stressful. And yesterday I was out with a friend. I was helping her move, and we went into town for a cup of tea, and I absolutely love all the customers, but every time I bump into somebody, they want to chat for 20 minutes, and that's really stressful. Because it's, and I get it, I completely get it, but to have to give yourself an extra 2 hours because you want to go for a coffee for half an hour in town, it's a bit extreme. And I actually I bumped into 3 different people, and obviously you can't say, I'm not speaking to you.
No.
And I nearly fainted, and my friend Mel, who I was with helping her move, she said, "Are you okay?" And I said, no, I'm not. Literally, it was the thought of going back to that feeling of, that racing around and living on adrenaline and feeling stressed and feeling sick, and just, literally blinkers on, get on with it. It's just no way to live.
It's not.
No.
I'm trying desperately to manage my own diary better than I currently am.
Well,
I'm doing it very badly.
Don't take a huge health scare to make you change.
No, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to... people then keep asking me to do stuff.
Yes, say no. No, that was my first lesson.
Yeah.
You must say no. If you don't want to do it, say
But that's
no.
the trouble, you see. I do want to do it. I want to help people. And a lot of this stuff, I'm not... When I say I'm not benefiting myself, I am benefiting in that I get to do the experiences. But yeah, they're tiring experiences.
Are you enjoying it though?
Am I enjoying it? Do you know, I had a similar to yourself. I had a big motorbike accident when I was 23, and from that moment on, I said I was going to live every day. So every minute of every day, I kind of filled to make sure I do something, because I could see how quickly it could be over just like that. So I've kind of gone the other way, I suppose. And before, I probably didn't do as much, and now I do loads and loads because I want to live every day. So it's the other way.
Yeah, and that's fine. If you're enjoying it and it's not making you feel ill, then, that, or stressed or worried or anxious, then you're fine. No,
I'm very fortunate in that I surround myself with amazing people, and they take a lot of the load off of me, thankfully. And I'm guessing that's what you've got in the shop. You've got people that are working there all day, every day, are they?
Yeah, and they're absolutely lovely. I have this knack of choosing the best. I think it's because I was in the army for 15 years.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, it makes you very disciplined, and sometimes they wouldn't agree, but they are lovely, and I'm really lucky. So I go in the morning at 5 a.m. and I go in at 7 p.m. and I do about 5 hours work every day, just to put on promotions, do new products. Okay. Do a bit of social media. That's my thing. That's what I'm concentrating on at the moment.
I've seen there's lots of videos.
Yeah, I'm loving them.
Lots of videos of you, and you're doing them very well. I study social media quite a lot. You do them very well.
Well, I'm actually having a lesson in a pub from my daughter this afternoon.
Are you?
Not at home, because we just know we'll chat and mess around. So we're meeting for an official business meeting for her to teach me TikTok.
And... you can put that on expenses then, you see.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's an official meeting with, and both of you can get... Anyway, we shouldn't really be talking about all that type of stuff. And do you know what? The worst thing is I said we'd talk off air about the people you could throw under a bus. We haven't done that yet, so we still can't throw anyone under a bus, supply-wise, but we'll get there.
Everybody will know who I'm talking about. It's just basically the big supply... There's 100 companies that run the whole world.
Do you know, you say everybody knows that. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, just big brands.
We're going to talk about it in a minute. Now, you've chosen, I'm going to pre-warn everybody, you've got 4 minutes and 14 seconds of your life. Please do continue to listen. That is going to be different. Okay, so tell us about this song. So this is by Bo Burnham, How the World Works. So why this song? When it came out, my wife turned around and went, what is that? And I said, well, it's Christine's song.
The words are just so relevant to how we've come to where we are over the last 60, 70 years. And my daughter's very much into this type of music, and I've kind of grown up with it over the last 20 years with her. I'm
praying I've picked the right song now, but yeah, we'll find out, shall we? If you do have any questions for Christine, then text BARS followed by a message to 80011, or you can email studio@radiobath.com. Enjoy the next 4 minutes and 14 seconds.
Hey kids, today we're going to learn about the world. The world that's around us is pretty amazing, but how does it work? It must be complicated. The secret is the world can only work when everything works together. A bee drinks from a flower and leaves with its pollen. A squirrel.
Richard Boson here until midday today with Christine Giles. She's the owner of Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford on Avon. Here until midday today. Charlotte's up after that as usual. Now, before we were discussing about companies that were good, companies that weren't so good. You've got two companies that are rated 0 out of 20 on the ethicalconsumer.org website. I'll allow you to name both those companies. Neither are suppliers or partners of Radio Bath. Go.
Well, so the first two that sprang to mind, I mean, there are hundreds, but the first two were Nestle and Cadbury's. And they've had interviews with children, and they've said to them, why do you still continue to exploit people and children for to produce your products? And they say, it's not quite as easy as that, but it is. And you hear the children say, well, it is as easy as that. But because they become so massive, and they've had, they've got all the shareholders, and they've got all this commitment, and it just gets worse and worse as time goes by. And because we've become so greedy, and they have to get the cheapest from wherever. And because of everything's always has happened over the last 60 or 70 years. And I think this is what people don't realise, that when I was a child, I remember it being normal, where you'd go to the shop and, your mum with a basket on her arm, and you get your little co-op stamps.
We get milk delivered.
Yeah, milk delivered, and the birds would peck the silver tops.
Yeah.
And that was when you literally bought from the local farms. And that's how we lived, because this is... Oh, here we go, I'm ranting now.
Go for it.
This is how it's
I'll sit back and relax.
This is how it's all gone wrong. So literally, humans are supposed to get up, go out and find food, look after their families, and hunt, or, however they find food. And that is how humans are supposed to live. Now, this is why so many people are unhappy now, because we don't do that. Everything is so easy, and the easier everything becomes, the easier we want things to become. So we've got a phone that is absolutely amazing. Give that to somebody 20 years ago and they'd be like, wow, this is just so cool, it's just so amazing. But now, because we've become used to it, if it takes 3 seconds to load something, we're like, oh, it's just taking so, and so the more we get, the more we want. And so we've all got to the point where when I was a child, if somebody was in poverty, they couldn't buy food. The poverty is now judged on whether you've got a mobile phone or not.
I go back to
madness.
I go back to the poverty. I'm going to say the poverty that I grew up in that I genuinely remember. I was probably about 10 or so. It was just a poor area we were in. There's nothing that anybody did wrong particularly. But I remember opening up the fridge and it was empty. I opened up the freezer and there was yellow rice in there. And then that's what I had for dinner. I had yellow rice with tomato ketchup on top of it. Frozen yellow rice. And that's and I didn't think anything of it. And I was generally quite happy as a child, because I didn't need anything. I didn't want anything. And even now I don't want anything. When people say, what do you want for your birthday? Everybody says you're a nightmare to buy for. I don't want anything. If I need something, then, something like a coffee cup, for instance, I use it on a regular basis. I'm not drinking Nestle coffee. And
Good.
honest, he says. That's something I need for me on a daily basis, therefore it'd be useful. But, things that are nice, I generally don't want them. So it's interesting saying now that people are wanting so much more.
Yeah, because we've been brainwashed into this system of this is how it should be. And if everybody was happy, fine. But, most people aren't. Everybody's stressed. They're in a job they don't want to be in. Lots of people are married to people they don't want to, or living with people they don't want to live with. And we've just it seems now that so many people are just waking up and thinking, what am I doing? And obviously what happened in September with my heart literally breaking has just made me rethink a lot of that. I mean, I've always been of the thought of, I don't, like I was saying to you earlier, when I discovered all these awful companies, I just literally gave all my designer stuff to the charity shop. And and I look at people now and who are sporting all this designer stuff, and and I think this, if most people knew that it doesn't look cool, and it's just really not good to And they got us by the Shelton Curlies. They'll sell a bag for £400 and it'll cost them £5 to make it. And because they've slapped a name on it, I mean, how mad are we to go down because we've been brainwashed to think it's okay.
We went to Northern Ireland a couple of weeks ago, as I mentioned earlier, and in the airport, of course, there's all the perfumes that are there. And I was saying to Zoe, my wife, I was like, this is such a hard deal because none of us can tell what the smell is inside of these perfumes or aftershaves. And so it's all about the marketing and the bottles that they're in and how cool it is and all of that type of stuff, whether it's a nice smell or not. But the strange thing about perfumes is that it costs virtually nothing to make them, of course. But if they marketed it for £5, you wouldn't think it was any good.
No, and this is
it needs to be £50 to be classy.
Yeah, and all these £50, £200 perfumes, they've all got plastic in them. They've all got, a lot of them have got, in the States, they've got ingredients that are banned in Europe because they're linked to fertility issues.
Right.
You look at the ingredients and it's just full of absolute rubbish. And they're all tested on animals. They're all made by companies tested on animals. All the mainstream ones that you see in the airports, unless it's got a certain logo on it, which is the Leaping Bunny.
Okay.
But obviously that's another conversation. But so they're full of absolute rubbish that's bad for the skin. Inhaling them is really bad for you. They're tested on animals. They're made by a company. They're just laughing at us, really, aren't they? We're thinking, oh, I smell lovely because I've got the latest this, and it's just embarrassing.
And they're making lots of money out of our stupidity, I suppose, is where this is going.
Yeah, and the thing is, most of us are intelligent enough to think, hang on a minute, I don't want to do that.
Do you think most people don't think about it?
Yeah, I think we've become so brainwashed into thinking this is the norm. We wear these clothes, we have this hairstyle. One thing that always makes me laugh is, there's still there is hope because there's still tribes in the world who, if you flew them over here and showed them us in a gym walking on a treadmill, they'd just laugh themselves off their chair because they walk to hunt or to pick their berries, and they'd be like, why are you walking? You're not going anywhere. What are you wasting an hour when you could just literally go out and do something physical? So, and that always brings me back to reality.
I still go back, I've said the story a few times, is that when I was in sales, I remember driving along the motorway, had a real epiphany moment, and I was like, so I'm driving the motorway this way and everyone else is driving on the motorway the other way. Why don't we just stay where we are and leave the motorways empty? I was like, why is that not happening? And then all of a sudden COVID hit and then Zoom turned up and everyone went, so we don't actually have to travel everywhere, because again, that's terrible for the environment, all of the travelling, no matter what type of car you're in. And I think now people have got into the system of, for me personally, if I can do a video call to do something, I will do it. At the same time, though, like obviously you've travelled in today because this is actually a much more personal thing than if we were doing it via Zoom. And it does become, sometimes you do need to have that physical contact with people.
Yeah. So
it's a difficult one to balance, isn't it? Where's your balance at the moment then?
Well, I think it's just about being mindful, isn't it? There's very few people in the world who can do everything. Even David Attenborough doesn't do everything, but we can just be mindful of what we do. I see people getting really upset about one thing, and I think, well, yeah, but if you look at your carbon footprint, it's probably quite high. And just because somebody's doing one thing to extreme, I think what most people don't realise is consumerism is the biggest issue for climate change and for the way the world is such a mess. Because if we all changed what we bought or thought a bit more about what we bought, then it would make a massive difference.
I know my daughter, who is very strong on things being right. She, similar to yourself, has banned herself from buying from certain companies.
Oh, good for her.
And whenever I say I've got X, Y, and Z from X, Y, and Z, she just gives me that look, going, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." And I suppose as a consumer myself, I think I probably need to think about it much more. Now it's a big thing to kind of say, I'm going to go all out and go, I'm not going to do anything anymore. And I'm going to set you up a question to think about for after the news, okay? So if somebody is wanting to change, what would be one simple thing that they could change, okay? Think about that answer, but first of all, we're going to have another track. So this is Labby Sifri, Thank You Lucky Star. Why this one?
Again, it's just because the words are lovely.
Just the words
very
are lovely.
relevant to how I feel.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you do have any questions for Christine, she's from Christine's Supermarket, Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford and Avon. Then you can text Bath followed by a message to 80011, or you can email studio@radiobath.com.
Years old, rice pudding cold. What, not moving? Pick up the spoon, get grooving. There's kids your age and younger, fat and thin with hunger, so you can thank your lucky star. There's someone somewhere much worse off than you are. So if you're stabbed in the backseat door, kiss her off, cause you can thank your lucky star. There's someone somewhere much worse off than you are.
So good morning, everyone. It's Just Another Day by John Cicada there. It's Richard Boveson here until midday today. Charlotte's up next as usual. No swearing in that song, so that's always a good start for the second hour. My guest today is Christine Giles. She runs Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford on Avon in Silver Street. Now, before the news, squeaky chair again. I set up, if somebody wanted to go down the route of making themselves, I'm going to say, a better person and lead a better life by not being a consumer of high value goods and all of that, it's quite a big task to take. So what would be one easy step somebody could take, like myself, for instance?
So it has to be something that you are passionate about. So as I said earlier, there's 5 different ethical issues. So whether you're passionate about animal testing or animal cruelty from the intensive farming or the sustainability of the planet, or whichever issue it is, you have to be passionate about it, and then you choose that one subject and you look it up and you learn, you teach yourself everything you need to know, and then you go down that path, and then that might then lead to, so say you started on animal testing and then decided to only buy items that were completely cruelty free. You just you search cruelty free toiletries, and there's lots of organisations out there that there's the BUAV. It used to be the British Union for the Abolition of Vivisection. It's now called Cruelty Free International. Just go to their website and you'll learn everything you need to know, and they list all the companies that are good and all the ones that are bad, and then you just only buy those products. And don't make excuses not to, because it's only ourselves that get in the way of ourselves. Nobody else is going to force you to buy stuff that you don't want to buy, so you just have to make that decision. And then if you're like me and one thing leads to another and you just think, well, I don't need to buy any of that, then you just don't. And then, go to the next website for the next issue. And that's how you do it. And
your supermarket runs on 5 different levels, effectively, doesn't it? So sustainability, what were the other ones? Fair
trade.
Yeah.
So everything there that is imported from what we assume are poorer countries, it has to be fairly traded. So, if it comes from France or Spain, there's not usually, it's becoming more of an issue these days, but there's not usually an issue with slave labour. But obviously countries like Africa, India, obviously the China issue, then it needs to be fairly traded. And people say, oh, well, and this is yesterday's video actually, they say, oh yeah, but at least we're helping them. Well, we're not helping them, but everybody deserves to earn a living. And another one I hear a lot is, well, if we all suddenly stop buying that stuff, all those people will go hungry. But we're not all going to suddenly stop. Not the whole world overnight are going to suddenly stop buying all the slave labour stuff. So as is happening now, as we're all slowly moving over to the more sustainable, ethical stuff, over the years, things should become better. But it's just, we just can make excuse after excuse as to why we do or why we do. And I do. Sometimes I mess up and
Are you saying you're not perfect?
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. I used to be completely the opposite. I was just an absolute nightmare. I was the designer label, eating all the, what's the point of recycling? No one cares. Chucking glass bottles in the bin, eating factory farming, going to McDonald's. I was one of those people, and I just didn't care because I thought my image, and I was selfish. I just thought that I had to do the best for me, and just whatever got in my way, just things can't get in the way. But now I just think, well, I'm so much happier living like this, and you really value food and the things you buy. My kids, they go mad because everything has to be eaten up and nothing goes in the bin, and we don't waste anything. And you were saying about going to the fridge and it being empty. It's often like that. Now all the kids are older, I'm like, go and buy your own stuff. We own a shop, for goodness sake. They're like, man, there's no bread. Yeah, well, there's like 50 loaves down the road.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to guess one of the biggest excuses that people have is price. Because fair trade stuff, organic stuff is generally more expensive.
No. So I will... this will convince everybody that is just rubbish. So we've got customers who are millionaires, and we've got customers who are very, very poor financially, but they are very rich in life, and they have decided that they're not buying stuff tested on animals, they're not buying unnecessary plastic, they're buying vegan or whatever they've decided they're doing, and that is what they spend their money on. They don't have fancy cars, they don't have mobile phones, or some of them do, they don't have to have the latest fancy holiday or the designer clothes or the designer perfume, so they choose not to buy all that, and then they choose to buy, it's what we choose to spend our money on. You can live ethically, sustainably and organically on £30 a week.
Okay.
And I've proved this in the shop. I've done a box of £30 worth of food that is enough for one person to live, and it's all ethically and sustainably sourced. But we, for the last 20 years, we're doing this. We're saying, oh, we can't afford it. Oh, it's more expensive. And now that's our excuse. It's absolute rubbish.
So it's rubbish. So if people come to your shop, they can safely shop knowing that everything is okay.
Yeah.
Which is a nice place to be, isn't it? You don't have to think to yourself. I suppose what you've done is made life easy for everybody.
Yeah.
Because they can just come to Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford and Avon. Yeah. And don't know why I put my radio voice on. And know that everything they're going to get from you is fair trade, is ethically correct, isn't tested on animals.
And everybody's lovely, and you just feel the atmosphere in there, and it's just lovely because people, it's a feel-good shop, you know, because people are like, oh, and you can see little stories about Bella, our egg lady, and how she looks after her hens, and all the local suppliers, and there's loads of little notes all around the shop about different things, and just nice stuff.
So you've been running for 20 years or so now, is that right? Okay, so what's been your proudest moment in those 20 years?
Oh, proudest moment. So the first proud moment was winning the environmental award from the Wiltshire Business of Wiltshire Year Awards, beating Centre Parks. That was pretty good. David Attenborough writing to me.
Oh.
And come in second in the Ethical Consumer Most Sustainable and Ethical Supermarket in the country, beating Abel and Cole.
Right.
Yeah. And so, coming second, that was a huge achievement. I think we got 16 out of 20. And winning a Prince's Trust Award.
Wow.
Years ago.
And you're on Silver Street, aren't you, in Bradford and Avon?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so how big is your shop? Annoyingly, I meant to come into your shop, if I'm honest with you, before I came in here today, and I just haven't had time. It's just been a week from...
It's one of those excuses, isn't it?
It's... Genuinely, if people had seen my diary over the last few weeks, it would be a fair reflection. I just generally, it's been fun. Let's go down that route. But I definitely wanted to go in there. But how big is your shop then? Is it just tiny. Like a tiny little short corner shop?
So it's long and thin, which is very helpful because obviously we've got a lot of wall space. to be able to sell so many products. But yeah, it's tiny, and it looks even smaller from the outside because it's a real small. It's bright yellow shop front.
Okay.
But still, people in Bradford on Avon say, "Oh, I didn't know it was there." We always laugh. All the shops in town that say, so many people say, "Oh, I didn't know you were here." We've been there I've been in Bradford 16 years.
Okay.
Because I started in Melksham. I had one in Swindon, and then I took on the Bradford one. So at one point I had 3 at the same time. But then I became a single parent, and I had to choose the shop out of 3, not the children.
It's very hard to choose your favourite child and keep 3 shops, isn't it? I think you probably made the right choice. You really have. Now, talking of your children, one of your children, which one is it that's chosen this next song?
Oh, Ellie.
Ellie has chosen Monrovia, Heavy Foot.
Yes.
Okay. What's this song all about then? Because this is, again, interesting. Let's go down that route.
Well, just about how we would like life to be, I think. Because I'd say out of the 3 kids, she's definitely the most following in my footsteps, shall we say. Because I've rammed it down all their throats for the last 20 years. And so Ellie's veggie. She doesn't buy anything new. Everything's second hand. She really thinks about who she works for and what she does. And yeah, she's chosen this next song.
No, this one's for Ellie.
Do you hear the sound of a bell? Did you wish your family well? Times ain't the same in the neighborhood. Got the parents all going through hell, 'cause the guns keep flying off the shelf. Do you see the man on the street just fighting for a meal to eat? You can write him off as a lunatic, but it could have been you or me if we didn't ever find our feet. Love me now, hold me down, and the government is staying on heavy foot, and they try to keep us all down.
Richard Bovesman here until midday today. We've been joined by many people in the studio. Good morning, everybody. Just shout out. Hello, there you go. You're live on air. I know, it's very strange all of a sudden. I'm here with Christine Giles. She's part of Christine's Supermarket Sustainable. I'll get the words right around the next time. Now, we're going to talk about how different your supermarket is compared to others. One of the main places is refills. Tell me about refills.
So I think one of the biggest things that the local community want is to be plastic free, so they can bring in their own containers for 30 different types of food, or organic, and also toiletries and cleaning products.
Okay.
So, and we do competitions, so we've got a lady who's got a 12-year-old egg box that she's brought back and refilled over and over. And somebody's got a 6-year-old paper porridge oats bag that she has sellotaped up the holes.
So literally they're bringing back the one thing they bought originally and just keep refilling it and refilling it over and over again.
Yeah.
So what type of foods can be refilled then? Because I know for me personally, when I've done... I've struggled sometimes in supermarkets, which I might actually be in, to remember to take stuff with me. So
yeah, well, I mean that's part of the some customers come in with 2 bags full before they've even done their shopping.
Yeah.
But it's about choice. It's whether you want to do it or not. And they want to bring in their egg box and their paper bags and their containers. And we've got one lady who spends £150 every week, and she comes in with 6 bottles of laundry liquid bottles, washing up liquid, fabric softener, shampoo, conditioner, shower gel, hand wash, and then she'll have all her containers for rice, pasta, dates, figs, almonds, all the nuts. What else do we do? So basically all the dried fruits, well, all whole food, so proper food.
Okay.
No, we don't sell anything ultra processed. In the supermarkets 80% is UPF, which is the thing these days for everybody's looking out for ultra processed foods because they're realising just how damaging they are.
Yeah.
And how ill everybody's now becoming.
Now, for me, again, processed foods is very difficult because I'm vegetarian, and a lot of vegetarian food is processed.
Yeah.
And there's very difficult to get away from that unless you're going down I'm having pulses and beans and all of that type of stuff. I really actually quite like the fake meat. I'm vegetarian because I don't want anything to have died for me to have eaten. But I still like chewing something because a lot of vegetarian food is kind of mush. So having that, but that is processed food.
Yeah, but you can get stuff that's not ultra processed. I mean, they call processed food anything that as soon as it's been, you've put 6 ingredients together, that's processed. But when you can get vegetarian foods, not all of them, obviously a lot of them are quite processed and not very good for us, but again, it's going back to cooking from scratch and spending that time to make yourself a priority and eat decent foods. There's amazing recipes out there. I've re-watched a video on chickens the other day, and the fact that 10 million are in sheds and they're forced to become the weight to be culled at 5 weeks old, and their skeleton can't, you'll know this as a vegetarian, but their skeleton can't hold the weight of their bodies, and they're rolling around in poo, which is burning their skin off, and then 1.5 million of them a week die before they even go to slaughter. And they're in all these sheds in the Wye Valley, and we just drive past them all the time, and as if they're not sentient beings, and it's just awful. And I watched that the other day, so I was again, no, I'm not even buying organic meat anymore, because I used to buy from a lovely organic meat farm for people who do want to continue eating meat.
Give them a shout out.
Ethically. Graig Farm in Wales. They send... It's free delivery. You can get a meat box a month for about £120, which will do a family for a month. And it's the most ethical farm I've ever come across. And they send the meat with sheep wool, because we go off on one again. So sheep the wool used to be worth a lot of money, and it was a real big deal for the farmers to do the shearing. All the generations of the family would all get together and do the shearing and make, that was an income for them, for the wool. And now because of all the plastic clothes and the imports and this, that's another subject. Because of that, they didn't do that anymore. So now they're trying to find ways to use the wool, and so it's really good for packaging, for keeping things cold. So ethical, sustainable packaging wraps the meat and keeps it cold, and you can even send it back if you don't want to put it in the bin. You can actually send it back free to the supplier.
It's amazing. Sometimes I get packages through. I order from a number of different companies, not just the A company.
Don't order from them.
Don't order from Amazon. No. Are they awful, are they?
Awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
Well, let's imagine I've ordered from another company.
Okay.
That's much better, just generally, because I'm a terrible person. And...
don't feel like that.
I don't really. And I get flabbergasted sometimes at the packaging. So there was one occasion I bought this mixer unit for DJing purposes, and the mixer was about the size of, about the size of a laptop, I suppose. Nothing bigger than that. The box it came in was the size of an enormous, huge box. I can't even describe what it was, like the size of a fridge almost. And I literally kept going through all this packaging. I was like, where is the mixer? And eventually it was like this tiny little doll, a Russian doll in the middle of it. And I was like, why have they done that? And I don't understand why companies waste so much on that type of thing. Why do they do that, Christine? Tell me why.
Why do they do it? Well, I mean, obviously, I'm guessing the mixer was worth quite a lot of money.
Reasonable amount, yes, but
so
not that much.
Make sure it didn't get damaged. And because they can use all this plastic and excess packaging, they do.
They do indeed.
But loads of people are shaming them on social media now. That's one thing that they have to look out for, because they're being tagged when, a company's not being very ethical or sustainable. So they're very much conscious of that now. That's quite a new thing, the last 5 or 10 years. So they're not getting away with it quite as much as they used to.
So again, we mentioned earlier about trying to make one change that would help, and it's kind of doing a bit of research or shopping in Christine's sustainable supermarket, if I can say it. And this could be another. If you do find something that you think this is completely unethical, then name them, shame them on social media.
Yeah, I'm just about to do it on with my shower head.
Are you?
Or not? Yeah. So,
what's wrong with your shower head, Christine?
Well, the instructions said to take the... can't believe I'm talking about this. But it's a really good video for social media. So you're supposed to be able to take the shower head off, clean it, put it back on, get rid of the scale, and it will work again. It's not working. I followed the instructions. I've said to the company, and they've said, well, it's you'll just have to buy a new one. So I'm going to pay to send it back to them and say, this isn't good enough. This is a piece of plastic that 1 million people have bought probably in the last few weeks, and you're saying I've just got to put it in the bin for landfill. No, unacceptable. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, it's something as trivial as that, but they will replace. Well, they'll fix it, or they'll think.
They'll think. They will make you. Yeah, you'll make them think, which is good.
Because there is no way. We can't throw things away. There is no way. It's on the planet. It's when I started this, there was 5 years of landfill left in Wiltshire. So where are they putting it all now?
It's a very good question.
The Earth's just getting bigger and bigger because we're burying everything.
One of the things which I'm just very quickly going to mention is many years ago I was in sales, and the people that were running it said, who do you think we are selling to? And the item we were selling was quite expensive. And we were like, we want to sell to businesses because they can afford it. And what they turned around and said, no, if I want you to now think about how many lampposts are in a road. And you think, well, there's quite a lot of lampposts in every road. How many houses are in between each of those lampposts? And you think, there's quite a lot of houses. How many people live in each of those houses? And now we're starting to multiply massively. And those people are the consumers. So if each individual person did one tiny thing, then actually that would have an enormous amount. Yes, businesses need to get themselves sorted, but actually doing much more individually can have a much bigger effect. Now, last thing I want to talk about very quickly is flooding in Bradford and Avon. This happened in 2024, didn't it, in November? And you were helped by the community.
We were. It was absolutely amazing. It was one of those moments where I just burst into tears, really, because for all those years prior, every time there was floods, I'd say, we don't get flooded. We've never been flooded. And we had never been flooded. And so this one day, my neighbours going, it's getting closer, it's getting closer. And I thought, we'll be fine. Anyway, we weren't fine. So, it was like a load of superheroes all running down the hill. I put out a shout on Facebook and said, help, because the water was coming in, and probably, as many people as we could fit in the shop, which was about 20 or 30, were just bailing water out for 6 hours into buckets, and we were going out with the buckets and pouring it into the drain, so it was literally going round in a circle. But we stopped it from getting high enough to cause any damage. So Bradford and Avon people are just awesome. And the funny thing was, the bridge was cut off, so you had everybody who lives one side of the bridge helping everybody that side, and then everybody else helping everybody that side. And I said, towels, we need towels or anything that absorbent that we can soak up all this water, because we were also soaking it up, bringing it out into the bucket. And so now, to cut a long story short, we've got about 300 towels in the shop, which is wonderful to use for all our refill spillages.
Just in case there's some more spillages. You've chosen the next song, Colours of the Wind by Judy Kern. I want to say, I'm very, absolutely, I know all of these songs. I really don't. Why this one?
So this one's from the film Pocahontas, and who is an absolute star for raising awareness for equality and making the world a better place.
Which is what we're trying to do right now.
We are.
You think I'm an ignorant savage, and you've been so many places, I guess it must be so. But still I cannot see if the savage one is me. How can there be so much that you don't know? You don't know. You think you own whatever land you land on.
Richard Beverson here until midday today. Last part of the show, it's the quick fire round. But before we've got that, our next presenter, the lovely Charlotte, is here. Charlotte wants to come on air early to talk to Christine about something. Charlotte, go.
Right, very quickly. So I'm going to do this quick. So you were talking about designer items, okay? So I live on a boat, right? So I'm on the Kennet and Avon. So often I'll be in Bradford and Avon near you. So my two doggies, one which you can here at the moment, which is Lola, and Lily's around there, which is the youngest one. So when I first got Lily, she was like, I don't know, 6-9 months old, I guess, and I had a friend come on a boat who was very much into designer handbags, and she'd been off and spent £2,000 on a Prada handbag. We were down in the boat talking, came back up, and Lily had ate her £2,000 Prada bag, which went down.
Well done, Lily.
Not well. Not well at all. And I thought, what a wonderful ending to a Prada handbag, and all that $2,000 completely gone.
Oh dear. How did she take it?
Not well. I didn't replace it because I didn't have £2,000, and I was willing to spend £2,000 on a handbag anyway. I spent about a tenner. Forget a second-hand one. Happy days.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting show, and I only wanted to dump that in because I thought it was quite amusing, and I thought you might find it quite amusing.
That is
the end
funny.
of designer, bills, and all that.
So I take it you're not still friends?
No longer. No longer. It wasn't the handbag.
No. Okay.
Just life, isn't it? You know what life's like.
Yeah.
It all changes. Sure. But no, it was very interesting. I'll let you carry on. I'll sit in for a second until you finished.
Lovely job. Right then, it's quick fire time.
Okay.
So you don't know these questions, do you? No, you've
you
no
wouldn't
idea.
Let me have a sneaky
I
look
wouldn't.
at the sheet.
No, I know. But
You've done it to mean Christine, haven't you, Richard?
I have.
I've been caught.
You have been caught. Who's got the squeakiest chair, by the way?
You.
No, I don't think.
I think you have. I thought Steve had changed them,
Is it
actually, because
me?
I brought new ones in.
No, this one's not.
It's mine.
It's yours,
Sorry,
Charlotte. That's okay.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to disappear and
okay.
leave you alone and stop squeaking on your chair.
All right, that wasn't a signal for you to go.
No, I'll leave you
goodbye.
alone. My guest will be here in a minute. Enjoy. Have fun.
Thank you. Love a bit of Charlotte. Right then, quick fire time. So the principle is there are 11 questions that get slightly deeper as it goes on. You don't have to give one-word answers, but just see how we go. Okay. So, right, first question. What is your favourite ice cream?
My favourite ice cream.
Favourite ice cream.
Bougie.
Oh, well, he says, what?
Well, it's healthy. It's the healthiest ice cream. It does still contain sugar, but it's organic, it's gluten-free, it's the base is cashew nuts.
So did you say Ooja Booja?
Bougie. They do the most amazing truffles as well. They've won 300 awards all over the world for how wonderful they are.
And I've never heard of it.
Yeah, and they because obviously all cocoa comes from mainly from 80% comes from the Ivory Coast in Africa, and they have some wonderful farmers there who hand paint boxes for Christmas and for Easter and for Valentine's, and they're beautiful. Yeah, bougiebougia.com, I think. Have a look at their website. Ice cream and chocolate truffles.
Lovely. Very good. Do you know, at least it's not vanilla, which is the most popular answer. Are you tidy or messy?
Both.
Both? Okay. Tell me why.
Functional. So I am very obsessive about lots of things. There's a note on the fridge that the kids have to do a job each every day, and depending on how well they did the job the day before depends on how difficult the job is that day.
Okay, now I'm going to pick a bone with you slightly because you've mentioned your kids a number of times.
I love them.
You do love them, and that's lovely. Okay, now I have children as well. I'm going to ask, how young are your children?
They are 17, 21 and 22.
Okay, so they're all adults effectively.
They
but
are.
I love the fact that you're still ruling the roost and they are still doing what you need them to do.
Well, that was part of the stress, and obviously in September after the operation I thought, why am I still picking up socks off the floor and saying put the washing in the machine and do this and do that? So I came up with this wonderful plan of so they know if they don't do the job, then they get a horrible job the next day. So they do the job. It's something as simple as empty the recycling or dust the telly or clean the sink in the bathroom. But if it doesn't get done, then the next day it's clean the whole bathroom. Yeah,
nice.
And it works. It works a treat, because then I don't feel like, well, why do we do this as mums? Why do we think we have to save the world and do everything and be treated like an absolute servant? No.
Treat our children as servants. That's what we should do. Switch it round. Did you reckon some of this comes from your army time? What did you do in the army then?
So when I was 21, I think I'd already had 69 jobs, and I thought I really need
69 jobs. Wow. Either you were got bored very quickly,
Yes.
or you were dreadful and they sacked you a lot. Which one is it?
bored very quickly.
Okay.
So I went travelling from the age of 17. I started off working at Pontins in Plymouth Bay in Jersey for 6 months. Then I went to Corfu and worked there for 6 months, and I travelled back through Europe on interrailing. Then I worked at the London Hilton on Park Lane for a year, and that was probably one of the best years of my life. And then after all that, plus lots of temporary jobs, I thought, and my dad, he died when I was 19, but I remember him running me up the stairs in the recruitment centre when I was about 16, when I had absolutely no interest in joining. And I remember thinking, that I had to give a year's notice to leave the army. I'll join the army. So I went, did the test, said, what can I do? And they gave me a list, and I said, I'll be a technician in the Royal Signals.
Okay.
So that's what I did for 15 years, and
Amazing.
that's really good. Well, definitely the best 15 years of my life.
It will always hold you in good stead. It always will. I'm ex-RAF myself, so
Are you?
I am indeed.
Wow.
Love or hate roller coasters?
Love.
You love them. Okay. Favourite roller coaster then?
Oh, actually, I probably won't now, not after the heart thing.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, you're allowed back on roller coasters.
Probably not.
I don't know if they have a sign on there saying if you've got a scar down your chest, you're not allowed on roller coasters.
Just
Don't
put
think
a
they go.
t-shirt on. Yeah, no, I have to be really careful. I'm not supposed to be more than an hour away from a hospital.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's slightly... so, can you travel via air anywhere, I suppose?
No, I won't do now. No.
No. God, that's... So, yeah. So, you can get across to France in half an hour.
I was thinking I'm definitely going to Ireland for St Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
That'll probably be my highlight of the year.
If it makes you feel any better, took 50 minutes on a flight to Northern Ireland.
Oh,
So
okay.
there you go. You can get to Northern Ireland via a flight as well if you do want to go on aircraft. Right. Myself and Charlotte talk about this all the time. Do you hang your toilet roll over the top or behind the back?
Behind.
You're a behind person, so it's behind like a mullet, not over the top like a waterfall. Why that way? I'm not saying it's the wrong way, but the other way's right.
Surely it's all from childhood.
I don't know. Yeah.
So how did your parents do their toilet roll?
I have absolutely no idea, if I'm honest with you, how they did it. But no, I've always known it to be over the front.
Oh, see, I've never actually put that much thought or effort into something so clearly important.
It's vital. It literally is. I genuinely go to other people's houses, and if it's round the other way, I turn it around, yeah. When I went to the toilet here in the green room, well, I'll rephrase that. I went to the toilet, the green room was next to the toilet. I was moving on swiftly. Is that I checked to see which way the toilet roll was in the Radio Bar studios. I can't stop myself, but there we go. So you're behind the back person. That's fine. Do you eat your chocolate from the fridge or from the cupboard?
Cupboard.
You're a cupboard person. Why a cupboard?
Because it tastes smoother and creamier, and what's the point of crunch in chocolate? It removes the flavour in the fridge.
It can do, yes. I am a fridge person myself, I have to say. But the right way is the cupboard. Yeah, it's the official way of doing it, but I still like it from the fridge. Yeah, curly whirly from the fridge.
Oh, you have to stop eating those. They're slave labour.
Are they Cadbury's, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Never eating a curly whirly again. Yes, there must be other brands available. I'm sure there are. Do you make... No, I'm guessing this, ex-army. Do you make your bed in the morning?
Yes.
Yes. Why do you make your bed in the morning? Christine from Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford, Avon.
Well, it's it's known all over the world that it's one of the things that sets you up for the day.
Yeah.
You know? Tidy room, tidy mind.
And my follow-up question then is, apart from the pillows, do you have any extra cushions on your bed?
No.
No. Okay, that's unusual. Most people have some decorative cushions.
No, I'm definitely not one of those people.
You are looking at me like... Who would do that?
Well, I spent most of my life in a male environment, so I'm kind of more male than I am female, so pretty things just do nothing for me. Aesthetically pleasing is not my bag.
No, fair enough. Did you used to, in the army, 'cause I'm guessing you had to make, is it a bed pack? Going through basic training?
Oh, when you had to...
all the sheets and everything lined up.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is for the listeners?
Crikey,
if you can remember it. It's a while ago for both
talking
you and I.
40 years ago.
Mine was 30 years ago.
Yeah, so you I mean, it wasn't very often. Usually your bed just had to be made very well, but when you did have to do it, you'd have to stack your blankets up and then your sheets and your pillowcases and your pillows on top, I think.
I think it was the pillows on top. It was more about the fact for me they had to be the exact size. They were in a square, so you had to fold them up in an exact size, and then you had to wrap another sheet around them so that certain parts of it were showing, and it had to be a certain tightness, a certain thickness. And at the time I used to say, this is the most pointless thing in the world. And then I looked deeper into it, and there's actually a reason they do it. The reason they do it is it creates standards.
Yeah.
And you have to be uniform and do the right standards. It's nothing to do with how well you can fold a bedsheet. The worst thing is now...
We do have the best military in the world.
We do.
You know, we do. That's a fact. And that, you know, that's not just opinion. And that's because we are so disciplined. You know, I don't know about you, but when I was in the military, I worked with other countries. And, yeah, their standards are not the same.
They are not the same.
No.
Indeed not. So hats off to all of the military people out there. What is your favourite breakfast?
Eggs.
Just eggs?
Well, omelette with... So it's not really an omelette. It's so fresh turmeric in the pan, bit of olive oil, onion, garlic, mushrooms, tomatoes, all lovely organic local veg.
Bought from Christine's Sustainable Supermarket in Bradford, Avon.
Turmeric's not, because that
That's
sadly can't be grown in this country. But, you know, that's one of my imports. And then pour in 3 or 4 eggs, and really good breakfast. I'm not really a high... I try and do low carb. I don't do keto, but we're not supposed to eat the amount of carbs that we eat, and we're certainly not supposed to eat like bread and croissants and things in the morning. Not every morning, obviously.
I see other people eating croissants, and I look at it and I go, there literally is nothing good about that, apart from it tastes nice. It does taste nice, but there's nothing nutritional about a croissant. And I used to work in a bakery as a child for many, many years, and I saw they had a French baker in there making croissants from fresh, literally doing every layer, and the amount of butter in a croissant is unreal. And then when I see people putting butter on a croissant, I'm like, have you any idea how much butter is in that already? Anyway,
a lovely treat.
It's a lovely treat at the right time of day, but for breakfast it's not nutritional in any way, shape or form. If you had to do it, what would be your go-to karaoke song?
Karaoke? Gloria Gaynor.
Oh, are you surviving? Were you at first afraid?
Hold on, what sprang to mind was "I Am What I Am."
It might be. That might still be Gloria Gaynor.
I love that song.
Do you?
Always karaoke.
Hang on, I need to look at it for now. I am what I am. Hang on, let's see if it's still there. I am my own
special creation. My kids would definitely agree with that.
It's Lady Blackbird, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it's got up here. Oh no, take it back. Another version, Gloria Gaynor.
Oh,
there you go.
Say.
So we have got Gloria Gaynor, I Am What I Am as well. So it is there. We can always play out with that if you want to. Should we listen to that as the last little one for you? Hopefully it'll be there. There we go. I think it is there. Cool. Favourite TV programme or film?
Film, Legends of the Fall.
Okay. Yeah, lovely film. Yeah.
TV shows, something to do with military or police usually.
Okay.
Or just anything about justice, really.
Everything has to be justice. Fair enough. 2 questions to go then. If you came back in your next life as an animal, which one would you be and why?
Oh, I'd have to be one that can't be exploited by humans.
Okay.
Well, there isn't one, is there? Let's face it, the polar bears, even they're a very powerful animal, but they're floating around on bits of ice.
It's getting harder.
Thanks to us. What would I be? Oh, a lion.
A lion, yeah, top of the tree. Love that. And your last question, Christine, and that is, where is your happy place?
With my kids.
Lovely.
Anywhere with my kids. They're just so funny and just love them to bits. Awesome people.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for your time today. It's flown by. It's gone very, very quickly.
Thank you for asking me in.
No, it's been fabulous. We're going to play out with I Am What I Am, which is fabulous. I can't wait for that. Next week on my show, it's James Luke. He's an AI specialist. We're going to be chatting all about AI and the journey that is taking. Very different to this week's show. If you do want to go and see Christine's supermarket, then it's a sustainable supermarket. It's got a yellow front. and that's in Silver Street in Bradford on Avon. Have a great week. Charlotte's up next. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon.
I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come take a look. Give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say